Hello and welcome to the channel, everybody. It's the Eradicator, and today we are going to talk about, again, server meshing and especially iCache. And this is obviously a topic that a lot of people have on their mind right here during the second part of the year 2020, simply because of the state of the game. You know, Star Citizen right now is not very stable, especially because of its current server status. Let's be honest, guys. The main issues right now with Star Citizen are the servers, and CIG is aware of that. They are working really hard to at least try to bring one of the next pillars to us this year, and probably it's going to be iCache, and I've been talking a little bit more about that lately, so maybe it's a good sign. And recently, one of the lead developers who is responsible for these new server technology, which is Chad MacKinney, replied to a thread on Spectrum, and this is what we are going to talk about in today's video. But before that, guys, let's remember that this month we've got an exceptional giveaway. It's a double giveaway for anybody who subscribed to this channel and dropped a comment to any videos related to Star Citizen this month. First, I'm giving away a Talon Shrike thanks to Buzz69, so shout out to Buzz69 for sponsoring this beautiful Talon Shrike. Also, I am giving away a package that includes a rock and a Cutlass Black with lifetime insurance. All you have to do to get a chance of winning is to subscribe to the channel and to comment to any videos posted this month related to Star Citizen. The winner will be announced early October. Good luck to everybody out there. So here we go, guys. Let's go to Spectrum, and this is a question that was asked by Unoptonium. Great name, by the way, for those who don't know the reference. This is from, of course, Avatar. Does each game server have its own iCache instance, which will partially copy sections of the global database service for quick access? Now, this is a question that was asked in the Ask the Devs section of Spectrum. You should really check it out, because very often the devs are kind enough to give some extra insight about what's going on there, and that is much appreciated. Every time the devs do that, it is really something that backers really like, and not everybody is aware of this, so that's why I'm doing this video, to share this with you. And here basically Unoptonium says, I thought iCache was going to be a horizontally scaled database service that all game servers would be able to get access. From the recent Calling All Devs episode, it sounds more like each game server has its own iCache instance on its drive for quick read and write speeds to the database. Each iCache instance would replicate relevant data from the main global database based on which sections of the game world are located on that server. Will meshed server access each other database will meshed servers access each other's database to access data, or will they constantly exchange relevant data directly between each other? That is not an easy question to answer, obviously, but and here Chad decided to go into the technical side of things, and that is really kudos to him here. Here's what he says. iCache is a fleet of services that, as you say, horizontally are scaled, that can be dynamically spun up or down according to requirement, and the numbers are entirely decoupled from specific server instances. Servers don't have their own database, but shards in our usage. This will be a collection of servers in a mesh working together. Will have their own records. So those shards will have their own records, and the items and variable database for these shards will be effectively separated from each other, since for the most part shards don't interact with each other, with the other case being players moving between shards and between sessions. So something that I think that will be slightly lost in the editing of the episode, that was slightly lost in the episode. So here he's saying that something was not really put in the episode. Maybe that was a little bit too technical, or maybe it was censored, I don't know. But they actually won't be jumping immediately to a global single shard, but instead they will be gradually putting those shards together until it will become a global single shard. Once we introduce meshing to the meshes, these meshes won't be as large and dense as our goals of region-sized shards and possibly a single global shard. Instead, they will act kind of like our server instances, but allowing us to bring up the players count from allowing us to bring up the player count from 50. So once they have once they have server meshing and Asha, despite the shards not being all together, despite not all the players being all together in one single sense, they will still be trying to put several shards together so that maybe we can have, let's say if we have 4 shards of 50 players together, then that makes a shard of 200 players. As we test, make improvements and optimize and fix bugs, etc., we'll be able to bring up the server counts to hit the larger goals that we're aiming for, but that will not be on day one. That's interesting to say that once we have server meshing or iCache, we might still be at 50 players per server for a while until they feel comfortable increasing the player cap. The servers in a mesh will be communicating with each other constantly, similarly to how clients and servers communicate with each other constantly, but persistence-based queries will go to the iCache, not other server nodes in the mesh. So this is where iCache is important. iCache is important for persistence. Now, eventually, other people moved on to ask their own questions since Chad was so kind to be active here in this thread. And here, Dung Fudge is asking, thanks for the extra information. How would Tier 0 implementation of all of this would look like in your opinion? Would the shard include the whole Stenson? How many servers would a shard contain in Tier 0? If shards don't communicate with each other, how will persistence work when I log in and back in from another shard? And here, Chad says, shards' persistence records are separate, so their view of the world is decoupled. This is what I was getting when I mentioned word lines in this video, but it got pared down to miss some of the meaning I was intending. The goal is to get the player's density as high as possible, so players play their entire game experience with Star Citizen in a single shard. It may be that they don't even go to the shard in the EU or Asia. This is to be defined how. I mean, they are going to define how region-based sharding will work. But from the player's perspective, they will see a consistent view of the world, and if their friends will as long as they play in the same region. So they are not going to put everybody from different regions all together. They are going to first split that between regions, and before we have region-based shards, we can use matchmaking techniques to get a similar effect. Okay, so first they will still separate regions until eventually people from various regions will be able to play together. That is another interesting clarification here from Chad. But that's not all. Ash here, Ash87 is asking, the thing I'm a bit stuck here with full persistence and the language of calling on the Friday came across like full persistence requires meshing, but we already have persistence in ships and hubs and other few places. It seemed like iCache, meshing, and persistence all required one another, but then iCache and persistence is fixed now. I was a bit confusing. Could you please sort it out? So here, Chad is going to sort out what is currently in persistence and the difference between iCache and the persistence that we have right now. So to that, Chad says, in some sense, they do all require each other to work in the final version we are intended, which is why it can sometimes be confusing to explain, as we both have to explain the final version of the system and simultaneously break down how we phase in segments of the whole system in such a way that can work without the rest of the system. In short, the goal is server meshing, but for that we require both global persistence and iCache. iCache doesn't technically require server meshing, but you aren't entirely wrong that it appears that there is some relationship to it leading to some concept of a shard to start with. The way it works is by effectively treating single server instances as a single server node mesh to start with. Global persistence is in right now in that we have global state of the world and that is being persisting, but only per server instance and only in internal memory, not stored in the database. With iCache, we are first moving this server instance-based persistence out of server memory and into a proper database. Well, it will be spaced out accordingly to shards, as mentioned before. And as I said, before we get server meshing working, that will effectively mean that each server instance is a single server mesh, which will mean that it will also have its own shard persistence record. Once we get server meshing rolling, then the shards will increase server density, which first statically, later dynamically, and then things start to look like our final goal up until it will be it will be a series of incremental steps to some temporary work to hold us up to where we get there. It's like building a ladder while climbing it simultaneously, says Chad. So there we have it. Chad giving some very interesting clarification on server meshing and iCache. So the way it works is that server meshing, basically you have these shards, which are basically several servers combined together. That's one shard, and then they're gonna have to mix all of those shards together so that you can have all of these different shards of different servers all together, looking seamlessly as if it was one combined server for everybody. It is definitely going to take some time. It is going to be done step by step, so we're not going to have thousands of players all together at first, but when we get the very first bits of server meshing, maybe after a couple of weeks we'll start increasing player cap from 50 to 100 or 200 if they have 4 shards all together. That's what Chad was saying in his thread on Spectrum. Very interesting. I'll put the link in the description down below if you want to read it by yourself. Thank you very much for watching. And now, guys, before we finish, it is time to answer a question from one of the fellow eradicators who support this this channel on the crowdfunding website Patreon. And here this is Input Trace, who says, "Hello, Irad. I haven't been able to join the Discord group until now. However, the invite has expired. Is it possible to get another one? Have a good day." So, yes, if you want to join my server, my Discord group on server, this is one of the perks that you get if you support me on Patreon or through the join button. Now, I cannot give the server Discord every day on YouTube, but I try to give it at least 2 times a month. So check out, if you're a member of the channel, check out the community tab, and you might see occasionally a link to the Discord server popping out there. Otherwise, if you join me on Patreon, I usually send an email with a Discord link, but those Discord links only last for 24 hours. So if you're a little bit slow to read those emails, yeah, you're gonna have to ask me again like this. But thank you for asking, Input Trace. You should be having your invite to the Discord right now. And that's all for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed today's content. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons, as it's going to make you aware whenever a new video is up. This is the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.